For fruit farmers in BC, we are heading for a summer that is anything but sweet. An unusually warm start to the winter, followed by a cold snap in January, has created devastating conditions that are expected to wipe out up to 90% of crops in some areas in the coming months. Joining us with more is Shukdeep Brar. He's the Vice President of the BC Fruit Growers Association. He also has his own fruit farm. Welcome to your morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
First of all, let us know, what's the situation like on your farm right now?
So I grow basically those crops that got damaged the worst, cherries, peaches, apricots, and prunes. We also have apples, but they're not taking as much of a hit from the cold so far.
And are you one of those farms, Shukdeep, that's expected to lose 90% of your crop?
We're projecting total losses for peaches and plums and apricots. For cherries, we're still a little bit optimistic that maybe, hopefully, we only lose 60 or 70% of it.
That is brutal news to learn right at the beginning of the season. With such a significant hit to crop output this summer, what will that mean for prices and availability of fruit?
Now, the prices can only go up so much. So the real issue is going to be actually harvesting the fruit, I think. It's going to be labor shortages of trying to get workers out to actually want to pick. And if it be cost effective for us to even maintain the crop throughout the whole year with all the inputs we have to put in.
So you're saying it might be more beneficial to leave it on the vine or on the tree than to actually to pick it and sell it?
Yeah, if it's only, say, a 10% crop, it is just so expensive to maintain that crop and actually harvest it that money doesn't actually get pushed out to the consumer.
Wow.
You can't raise our prices that much.
So the number of fruit trees farmers in BC has been in decline since they started collecting data. That's in the 60s. There were more than 4,000 farms back then. Now, in 2021, there were just 2,000 remaining. What will a year like this mean for future farmers?
This year, it's not even this year. We've had it compounded basically since 2021. We had the heat dome, and then we had another freeze after that, and then we've had another freeze again. So we've had 3 or 4 years of declining production, and that's where you're seeing a lot of the trees coming out of the ground. Some land is being left fallow or put into vegetables or put into vine grapes. Now, they also took a massive hit this year as well. They're probably even on par with us, maybe a 10% crop.
With 3 years of really harsh conditions and lower outputs, what does that mean for the survival of farms like yours?
The one thing that keeps us going is our passion for it still. It's not really sustainable at this point. However, I'm a second-generation farmer, and we've seen some things like this, but never this many years in a row. So I'm not going to lie, it is getting a lot tougher. However, we're going to keep going. I mean, we've got so much money invested into it, and we're hoping for some BRM program changes that'll help us get through this year.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those changes. And, you know, it's a good reminder for people that farms are like small businesses and in some cases large businesses, right? And they are multi-generational, as you've been talking about. So for supports, the provincial government is currently offering things like a crop insurance program as well as a replanting program. That was announced last year. How does that help farmers?
The replant program will not really help us this year. It'll try and help get some of the maybe trees that died. We'll get new ones next year. Now, the crop insurance or production insurance, as it's called out here, does work in certain cases. The problem that we're seeing with that is the 3 years of declined production, our value that we're getting for it is decreasing year over year. So we're actually not getting as much insurance as we would 3 years ago.
How are farmers like you supposed to stay in business then, Shukdeep? How does that work for you?
We do a lot ourselves now. Before, we used to bring in a lot of workers. This year, we've toned that back. And we just have to look at our bottom line numbers and maybe cut back on certain fertilizers or inputs just to try and get through the year. And we're still optimistic. Like I said, if we can have a 50, 60% cherry crop, it'll still help. But I know our peaches there's nothing. We won't be picking any peaches or apricots.
Listen, I know it is tough news to talk about, especially this is your livelihood that we are discussing. So I thank you so much for coming on today and giving us a sense of what's coming this summer.
Yeah, no, thank you. And like I try to say to everybody, if you see BC fruit, please buy it. If you don't see it in the store, ask the manager to get BC fruit in, because we need all the help we can this year.
Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.